Hi class, in this section we're going to talk about actually measurements of the data set. And for the first portion of the lecture, we're basically doing the following. So we're going to be talking about measures of the center. And what that actually means is you're going to have some sort of a actual, distribution. Most of these are going to be bell shaped, or we're going to assume that they're bell shaped. And then here's the idea. We're actually getting measurements of the center of this portion here. And then, we're getting a notion of like this data set is from this value to this value. And then also where are most of the values actually being placed on the number line. So this is the main formulas that you're going to have to deal with in the next, in 3.1 and so on. And you don't have to memorize the formulas. They're going to be given in this format. So basically, I'm just going to cut and paste this for your first midterm, along with all the other formulas. So it's going to be just a matter of knowing when exactly and what to use when. Now, let's go to the first couple of examples. Also, as part of the reading, you're going to see that there's a couple of these sketches. The sketches will actually be given for you guys as well, in a formula page or in a page with formulas for that next exam that we have coming up. Now let's take a look at a data set. And in this case, one of the main important factors that you're going to have to deal with is the data set given as a sample, or do they assume that the data set happens to be a population? Now this is just a technicality, but the main differences in this section is that if you're given a sample, the mean will basically, you end up with the sum. This represents the sum. Hold on, I don't think you can see my highlighting. This represents the sum of the x's divided by n. If it's a population, well, instead of calling this x bar, we're going to call this mu, and it represents the sum of your x's divided by n. In any of these two cases, n represents a total number of values, but on populations, that's expressed as a capital N. So technicalities, but I do want to see the actual formulas exactly as they're supposed to be given. So let's take a look at the first data set that they're asking us to provide measurements. And this is what I recommend. So take a second and enter the data set. So in this situation, we're just gonna, give me just a second. We're just gonna enter the data set. So we're looking at edit. Take a second and enter the data set. And then once you have it, since they want you to order the data set from min to max, you can just exit, hit stats, and it's a lot easier to just do what we did last week, which was to sort the data set. So in this case, I had entered everything under L1, and then you can just access the data set. And let me just put this on the side. So in this case, if we were to order the data set, you're going to see that your data set happens to have, well, from min to max, I'm looking at starting with a 5 comma, I see two 5s, then I see a 12, followed by a 16, followed by a 30. From the 30, we have a 40, then followed by a 55, followed by another 55, and then a 60, a 78, and then it stops at 100. And let me just double check to make sure that there's no typos on the data set. And once we sort it, I see two 5s, an actual 12, 16, 30, 40, 55, 55, 60, 78, and the maximum is 100. And just for future reference, let me underline those two values. So we're looking at, there's two 5s, there's two 55s, and obviously that's going to be our min value, and that's going to be our maximum value. Let me just circle these. We're going to have to reference those in a little bit. So one of the reasons that we're asking you to order the data set is just to double check that we don't have any errors. Or what I typically do is, if you have any errors in the calculations, as long as I can figure out what you're using from the data set, we should be fine. If I cannot figure out what you did, then I may have to take points away. Okay, so let's take a look at the 5-number summary. And the 5-number summary is going to consist of, well, technically your min value, your Q1, your Q2, which happens to be the median, your Q3, and the maximum value. Now, to actually obtain these values, you can just do a one variable stats, run it, and it actually gives them to you. So please evaluate a one variable stats and double check that you're matching. So my main output, I'm getting that for the minimum value, which we have it as a 5. Our Q1, I'm getting a 12. Your median, it's going to be a 40. Your Q3, we're talking about a 60. And the maximum is the 100, which you could just actually retrieve by going in this order. And you can actually see that your 5-number summary, it's actually at the bottom. So it starts with the min 12 for Q1, median 40, Q3 60, and our maximum value, which happens to be 100. Let's go to the next question. Now, remember that all of these are samples. So once we start, or once we're given the information that it's a sample, you continue with the idea that it's a sample. The next typical question that you're going to see showing up over and over is the whisker plot. And in this case, I just need a basic sketch from you guys. And it doesn't have to be to perfect scale. We're going to do one of the labs where we're actually looking at the data set. And you're going to start by technically putting the 5, then the 12 goes there, 40, 60, and the 100. What's important on your whisker plot is the units. So in this case, we're just given that this is a sample and the data happens to be minutes. So that has to be included. We need it there because if anybody's looking at this data set, they have to make sure that it's clear that we're talking about minutes. And I just want a basic sketch. I'll show you guys on the next lab how to actually do these with the actual StatCrunch, and all of this is already pre-programmed. Now let's take a look at the following formula. And it gets a little bit confusing when we're evaluating formulas. Now all I want you to do is the shortcut, but basically if you go back to the formula, the mean or the average, it's going to be x bar if it's a sample over the sum of the x's divided by n. So on all the problems that you're evaluating formulas, in this case I want the following, and we're talking about formula, variable formula, and then your output. Shortcuts are perfectly fine. So in this case, x bar is equal to the sum of the x's divided by n. Now what this is actually doing is the following. So you're technically going to be adding the 5 plus the 5 plus the 12 plus every single value all the way to the 100, and then you're gonna count how many values you have. In this case, you have a total of 11. The output is telling us here 11. And let me extend this portion here. And this is going to be approximately the following value. Now, your mean is already calculated here. So you technically have that value as your mean, and they want us to have 4 decimal places. So in this case, your mean is going to consist of 45 actually. So approximately 41. So 41.4545, and we're running to 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places. And that's pretty much it for the mean. You don't have to calculate all of this sum. The one variable stats already gives you that output. So what I do need from you guys is the variable, the formula that's associated with it, and from here you can jump to the answer. You can just tell me that you're basically using a one variable stats. I do want to see that portion somewhere there, not in between the actual evaluation, just on the side. And this is just so that I know that, okay, you're using the calculator and you're running that part of the evaluation. Let's take a look at another measurement from the center, and this is going to be with respect to the mode. Now, by definition, the mode represents the value that repeats the most. And you may have one value, you may have multiple values. Take a look at these graphs. This one, give me just a second, let me move this. Let me extend this further. So if you look at the first graph here, this is a graph with a single mode. This is with 2 modes or bimodal. You can technically have a bunch of these. What they represent is the values that repeat with the most frequency. So you could have multiple ones. And if you notice, when we were looking at organizing the data set, you can easily see here that you have 2 5s and 2 55s. So once you look at the actual data set, there's your 2 5s. And then you can actually see further the 2 55s. I don't see any other numbers repeating. So for this one, in terms of the mode, you would say, and I need you to take good notes on this one, the mode happens to be, well, the values of 5, and then we had a 2 55s, so 5 comma 55 with multiplicity of 2. So multiplicity of 2. And what this actually means is that when they're talking about the mode, for anybody who looks at this data set, they can just actually see that you have a 5 and a 55. Those repeat a total of twice. If you were to have more values, then in that case, you would actually be concluding that, well, there's a different multiplicity.